Let's hear it for the All-Women's Blues Band.
Oh, this is a great evening for me. I'm having a great time. It's probably the highlight of my life. I mean it really, you know, because this is really important to me. It's more important to me than most of the things I do. And I'd like to thank all of the women who've been working with Camp Sis, you know, making this project a possibility that we will have a political education center for women and children. And, you know, one of the things that we're doing here is, you probably noticed the camera on me. Well, Hollywood's come at last. And it's nice to have all you little people out here to help, you know, with that natural, rootsy touch. You know, so glad you could all make it. And I'm especially glad that we have some colored people in the audience because, you know, it adds that multicultural touch that I'm getting a special grant for from the... And especially I'd like to thank the 3 men that came because even though I'm a lesbian and I don't have much use for you, I still support your money coming to our events. So, I'd like to start this set with a song that I'd like to dedicate to all of the sisters who really make my life wonderful. And most of them are here too, because I see so many, you know. Makeda, queen of the lesbians, is here. And she certainly's done a lot in our community. I mean, a lot. And we have, you know, Unsik Lee is giving us community radio. She's doing a great job. And Grace Channer, you know, she's like my bosom buddy. She's my sister. She's like blood. She's just great. She's wonderful. I love her. I mean, it's not sexual, you know. But I mean, I love her in every other way. I'll dedicate the song to Grace. Sister, hold my hand while I walk this race. Sister, hold my hand while I walk this race. Sister, hold my hand while I walk this race. 'Cause I don't wanna walk this race alone. Guide my feet while I'm walking this race. Guide my feet while I walk this race.
No, even with
Guide my feet while I walk this race.
Where's those nails you got?
'Cause I don't wanna
I
walk
ordered
this
them.
race alone. I wanna hear all the sisters now. Sister, walk with me while I walk this race. Sister, walk with me while I walk this race. Sister, walk with me while I walk this race. 'Cause I don't wanna walk this race alone. You know that I don't wanna walk. I really don't wanna walk. I really don't wanna walk this race alone. Thank you.
The importance of the artist in the black community is to give voice for the black community, right? Because there's nowhere where we have voice, so everything we are and everything we do, whatever field we get into, it really is an expression of our community. I'm in a process of revolution, in a process of liberation as a woman. And so this voice, this story hasn't been told in what we are taught about the history of art. there was a lot of pressure to, if you finish high school, then you should try and at least go to university. So I went there and I found a lot of very racist, homophobic white men who paraded around and had nothing to teach me except their own narrow world. And it's not what I wanted. If I was going to go to an institution, I wanted to learn about the world, Africa, Asia, art that's coming from those places, and there were no teachers there who represented that. Nobody who even had a vision that maybe that was important. The legs, right? I made it out of paper.
How did you get to make the body part?
The body? Well, I weaved. I went into the woods and I got all kinds of sticks. And then I started to weave them together. It's like sewing her whole body. The trees that she's made with are like 60 years old, 70 years old. So she's been around.
Her head.
Definitely. Her head floats.
How did you make that?
I didn't make the head. The ocean and trees and light and all those things made the head. She just landed on the beach one day and I saw her there.
I have to have something to sing that I believe in. And for many years, I sang songs that didn't mean anything to me. And I found myself very empty, very alone, and very unconnected. And so I wanted to sing what was connected and what was true. And the only music that has that is the people's music, music that comes from people. And that music generally allows itself to change, and change for the better. And they may call that social change music, but it's really just real music about real things that are important. The other stuff is just bullshit music to keep people's minds empty. That's your part is doot, 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 doot.
So just one note.
And then the next time you go diddle doop and I go doop.
Okay. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's been a long time coming, long time here. No jobs, no schools, ain't no hope for the future here. It's been a long time coming. I'd like to introduce Sherry Shute on guitar. I'd like to introduce Chioko, who was playing sax earlier. Rachel Mellis extraordinaire, sister from the planet Venus. Yes, she cannot be pigeonholed. Yes, and wonderful, wonderful Kat Dyson. Yes, and the wonderful Brazilian get down sister Asara Santana. Just her. Long time here, no jobs, no schools, no hope is here. Been a long time coming, a long time here. From teachers to preachers to the policeman's gun, they don't think that we're equal. They keep on and on. Been a long time coming, a long time here. It's been a long time coming, a long time here. Children charged in Nova Scotia, white children set free by the color of our skin. town to the brushland. Mulgrave is yuppified, just like a burning shell burned town. They're relocated all the time. Long time coming, a long time here. Let's take it on that. The only thing I thought about that song was take 4 out instead of 1. Because when I listened to it back, it sounded like it needed more out. You know what I mean, Sherry? Just hold the G like...
Blues Music Express, it talked about juke joints, which are booze cans, you know, which are places where you can buy liquor illegally. And that was never talked about in other music. Other music was just about this love that you could share in the air with somebody you didn't even know, but you were going to meet. But the blues spoke directly to how we lived as black people, you know, like the rich man's blues, or the washerwoman's blues. I knew a lot of women that, you know, washed houses to live. And that just seemed to me that it was finally something I could believe in, something I could hear. And I listened to it like the Bible.
Racist society, and I knew it. From day one, you're told you're not worthy. I'm a black woman who has a culture that's constantly being repressed and oppressed. In having a spirit to question that, you know you have to find somewhere else to go. You have to find an alternative way of finding yourself.
I grew up around Regent Park, so I grew up knowing all these kids. And I grew up seeing that, you know, it was generational, that their grandmothers maybe lived with them and they were poor, and their mothers lived with them and they were poor, and they were going to grow up poor. Some didn't, you know, but most did, because you do what you're around. You know, your father's a doctor, you'll probably be a doctor or a lawyer. So whatever is in your family, and unless you're exposed to other things and ideas, then you will, you know, blame yourself. Because we're always taught to blame the victim, and then we blame ourselves for what we haven't got. And I think I realized that I had some opportunities in life.
Regina, why did you kill that man? 400 years of slavery surely leaves its toll. Welfare mother trying to make it on your own. Your kids gone hungry, try to pay the rent. And where do you go when the money's all spent? Regina, why did you kill that man? Well, you're standing on the corner trying to make ends meet. Can't find the stop, another freaky freak. Starts to pull your hair, slaps you in the face. You yell for mercy for your knife him in the face. Regina, why did you kill that man? The policeman took a statement. He said there's no defense. You killed a white man and it don't make no sense. You're sitting in a jail cell trying to save your life. You're a black woman and you'll never be white. Regina, why did you kill that man?
I could have been in prison, and I probably would have been if I had been caught, you know, when I was younger, like being the middleman or middlewoman, you know, for drug deals. I mean, I was very young. I didn't really understand. I was told that drugs would make me better or make me smarter. That was my understanding of taking acid. So for a lot of that, and growing up in a booze can, I think I realized that the police were knocking at the door, and they used to come and bust up the house, you know, and it was like any minute you could go to jail. And I think it's a very, even now as a social activist, anytime, you know, you're on a picket line or you're on a demonstration line, the police will come and put you in jail.
because men have for too long taken over our bodies, our minds, everything to do with us, and are giving it back to us in a way that's totally alien to anything that is who we are as women. So I felt it's our time to start to rewrite, recreate ourselves. Women, female, strong, and in control of ourselves. Being naked with myself, physically, mentally, emotionally, all kinds of ways, is really important in trying to discover oneself.
Well, as a musician, a black female musician, I think it's always been a struggle to overcome sexism. When I first started, I used to play with black male musicians a lot. And I found that trying to overcome that kind of sexism where you're a woman, put your instrument down and just sing and shake it up, which was very much that whole history of black women throwing away their instruments. Whether, you know, like Nina Simone always playing her piano, or Aretha Franklin was a fantastic piano player, or Gertrude Moore Rainey, did they play piano, you know? So there was always that kind of, that women shouldn't play particular instruments.
Vibrations, the figures you'll notice are all females, and they're all naked, and they're all sort of rolling and tumbling with fingers and toes, and I'm challenging the whole perception of women in art to be sexual objects. I was coming to terms with my sexuality, a black artist, a black woman, a black lesbian, and realizing I didn't need many of the chains that I still had of a patriarchal sort of environment and society that just told me all the things I should be. It seemed like my aunt, oh, I shouldn't come out for her. My aunt is a lesbian. But I remember when I was about, I think I was 10 or 11, she had to stay with us because she ran away from a very abusive situation with a man. So my mother would tell us all kinds of homophobic crap about her, and she smells and don't touch her and all this kind of thing. But I just saw this really sweet, gentle, shy woman who was stranded and not knowing where to go. And I just, you know, I felt so close to her, and she'd sleep there and I'd sleep here and I'd watch her all night. My mother would say, I'd hate it if one of mine never became one of them. And I used to watch my aunt and think, I wonder what my mother would say if I said I was one of them.
We embraced, and your arms slipped slowly around me, like the limbs and branches of the cassaberry tree that grows from the dark, moist earth of Ashanti soil. We embraced, and your arms slipped slowly around me. Your locks, brown and delicious, carries the fragrance from the blossoms of that tree. In the language of our foremothers, cassaberry must mean sun-kissed days blanketing a soft orchard with the indigo sweetness of you. I anticipate the familiar flavor of your cassaberry. We embraced, and your arms slipped slowly around me, like the limbs and branches.
But then there's 14, when very first time I went to a lesbian bar. And I'd been soul sister #1, so I had like this red wig, like big red afro wig, which was, and false eyelashes and this tight dress, because that's how we dressed on the weekends to look good, and I wanted to look good. So I figure I'm still, like, during the week I wear jeans and a t-shirt, so I'm still like a strong girl. But I go to this club and I'm all dressed like this, this tight dress. I had like a Billie Holiday kind of dress, that slit down the side, and the high, those high square-toed shoes with the heels. So I walk into this club and I'm at the door. And I take out a cigarette, like I'm gonna light it, right? And about 5 women come swamping me to light this cigarette, right? And I'm like, what's going on here, right? And I walk inside the club and I look and I see there's all these women. And some of them biggest houses sitting there, like this with a tie on, a suit. And beside them's a pretty girl, in a pretty little dress. And I realized I look like the girl in the pretty dress, but I like the girl in the pretty dress. So I go to the girl in the pretty dress, like, well, you like to dance? And she's,
Well, if I feel tomorrow like I've been feeling today, I wanna pack up all my troubles, I wanna move away. 'Cause I'm crazy about your loving, and I want it every day. 'Cause I'll never be happy, what more will I say? I got a friends and a would-be lovers, I still ain't satisfied. I got a friend and a would-be lover, and I still ain't satisfied. If I can't have your love, I'll lay me down and die. So you be mine till the end of time.
Being a girl meant you couldn't run, you couldn't jump, you couldn't play, you couldn't discover yourself, you couldn't be adventurous. So I think I became feminist in my thinking from a very, very early age. But that didn't quite, allow me to be able to discover my sexuality, which was even more tabooed in the social environment that I grew up in, where there was a lot of Christianity, which was really linked to male domination.
It's cold now. Yes. Everybody, you're supposed to ask me. This is the Toronto's favorite question. Excuse me, where do you come from? Ask me where I come from. I'm the sister from another planet. No, just kidding. Everybody's asking me what country I came from. I say I come from this world. They said back where you belong. What the hell is the difference? Your world or my world, there's only one. They always want to always divide and rule, make us hate. Divide and rule, we just can't wait. Divide and rule, it's not too late. Divide and rule, we can overcome. Divide and rule us. Oh, it's a political tool. Let's talk. When we talk about South Africa, what we say on this hill, we have to overcome. We must overcome. Everywhere. Take back the night. Divided we're so weak, and together of our strength, I'm sure women can be united and not divide and rule. Surely we'll win. Divide and rule. We're bound to begin. Come on, let's sing. Together we'll win. Divide and rule us, just us begin. It's a political tool. You know that I'm a woman, I love women. I think men should
justice and equality. Thank you.
Being a singer is not unusual for a black woman. It's true. Being an out lesbian black singer is very unusual. I was always getting in trouble being a lesbian, singing, you know, in different places. And I decided one day, well, I'm not going to have any more trouble because I'm not playing any place where I can't be out as a lesbian.
Recently, I was in an interview with somebody, and I found that I myself had to felt the need that it wasn't comfortable to just be totally who I was, because what's acceptable about being an artist is to talk generally in these fluid off tones, and it's not to be real about, well, my whole understanding and being is centered around everything I am. I'm a lesbian, and that is very much a part of why my art is the way it is.
I mean, often, many times when I go to play an event, people will say, this is a union gig, it's a family day thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Faith, you understand? It's a family day thing. Like, okay, I'm a lesbian, I don't have family. I have family. You know, I have nieces and nephews. I had a mother and a father. I know what family is, you know? But I'm the one in the family that's not supposed to exist.
For me, it's very important to be part of the community and its struggles and its activism, all of these things.
But you feel about it too.
Yeah,
you feel
I feel the pain, and that pain has to be put someplace.
They constantly try and invisibilize you and ignore you. So I just keep throwing it up at people. I always introduce myself as a lesbian, and I always ask them if they're a lesbian, you know, within the first 5 minutes. So there's generally a little friction that goes on. And after a while, you know, maybe it's the first time someone said they were a lesbian to them. So they kind of get the idea. But most people in the black community don't bother me because they know that when it comes down to it, we're going to go for it. Like, I'm not going to back down. And I'll challenge their own heterosexuality. If I have to explain myself, they must too.
And for me, I just have to continue to fight. I don't want to ever be in that prison, and I refuse to stay there.
Well, there you sit, braids in your hair, scuffed up sneakers, a hole in your clothes somewhere. Not safe to laugh or cry. Nobody asks you why. Feel like you wanna die. My little girl blue. Oh, little blue. I'm just like you. Come and fly, my little girl blue. Some say you're special, the best of both worlds. Neither black nor white. Most times you just don't seem real. The mirror tells no lie. Look close and see. Open up your eyes. You're black just like me. Oh, little girl blue. I'm just like you. Come and fly, my little girl blue. This lonely race with a life for a name leaves you so displaced. Can't you see we're all the same? Oh, little girl blue, become a woman now. Love your people, love yourself, that's the way how. Oh, little girl blue, I'm just like you. Come and fly, my little girl blue. Oh, little girl blue, I'm just like you. Come and fly, my My little girl blue.
Black woman, I met you today at the Bloor and Young subway up top on the northeast side next to the cinema, precisely at 5. I was so excited about our afternoon and time to write together. I got there 1/2 hour early.
You had this really strong black identity of, you know, James Brown, I'm black and I'm proud, and all these images of the Supremes and Aretha Franklin and Martin Luther King. And that was all going on as a young black woman. I was getting a lot of pride, and we're wearing boobas and African wraps and doing all this stuff with my black friends. And then I would go looking to become a lesbian, and there was like a huge cultural change, and there was nowhere to take that.
I was surprised you had on orange. You rarely wear orange. I love orange. I like the way you looked.
Thinking of the uncommon knowledge of knowing you. I've learned so much about myself simply because of the tender and sometimes not so tender challenge of you.
Coming out as a lesbian for me was very easy because there was a community of women who were involved in all kinds of things, politics, in their own fields of studies, and all kinds of things. And they were very supportive of me coming out as a lesbian. I was able to ask the pertinent questions that I'd always needed to ask, but there had been nowhere to ask it. So I was very lucky as a lesbian to come out amongst women in a community that was doing things and working together and asking those questions and challenging.
Uncommon knowledge. I'm thinking I'd rather be lying next to Clarissa. I'd love to be making love, talking fashion, gossiping, reveling on red sheets, making love.
Sometimes when I think of you growing up without black women, I ache inside. I wonder what fills that place up inside of you. Was it empty?
You know, white people were aware of what was going on. They were aware of it in a certain sense, but they were not it. So it was trying to find somewhere to be a lesbian in that and maintain culture, which I don't think I was able to do that much. So I tried to fit in. And I think today the difference is that I don't have to fit in because there are black lesbians. I can have a full black culture and still be a lesbian, which is really rewarding.
My place is filled with the love, support, and abuses of black women of whom I have measured myself against. What would I feel inside if they suddenly never existed? The thought frightens me. It would be incomprehensible to only have yourself to measure blackness against in a world which claims it doesn't exist. I was always a lesbian, but I just never had a place to find that. I had to be quiet about it or just, stay isolated, which is what most of my first 24 years of my life was. I was a pretty isolated person.
I feel so much joy at the birthing of my life. I want to shout. I think of any stone that is mouth-watering and purple, any sound that water makes. Paintings will soon spill out of me.
black show like the one I'm in, this one sort of gets squished into the sides of the gallery because it's not a main part of the structure of how this kind of space would run. For me as a lesbian black artist, I get even more squished. The organizers didn't realize I was a lesbian for some reason, so they saw my work only through sort of heterosexual eyes. If you really did look at my work, and if you really did, you know, sort of see who and what I am, you would also recognize that the lesbianism in my work is very much part of what it is. A painting that's sold in some huge gallery or sold to just one rich person just seems to be so totally against everything that I'm about. I believe art is for all people to share in, and I don't think certain people, because they have money, should be able to buy it. The Eurocentric vision of art is that everyone else creates crafts, which goes to a separate organization altogether, and the only artists are really white, middle-class, white men. Even for women, I mean, it's difficult for them to get grants.
And it's a buddy-buddy system. It's usually one white guy knows another white guy, and he'll say,
how you get
yeah, and because I said the word black about music, well, music is no longer black. It's just everybody's, because once white people play jazz, it's no longer black music, and once white people play blues, it's no longer jazz music, and if they play African music, it's no longer African, it's world music. You know what I mean? So you cannot claim that you even own any music or have any tradition. The only real art that's ever funded in this country is for rich white Europeans. Because it's like there's special funds for classical music. You know, we have our Royal Ballet, we have our Royal Opera Company, our Royal Symphonies, which only about 4 or 5 people go to. When you look at the whole population, people would rather see Stompin' Tom.
If you are speaking out on those kinds of issues, you don't get called in to do concerts, you don't get the gigs, you don't get these things. You really have to work much, much harder than any other kind of musician.
Well, I don't know, because I'm kind of an anomaly, right? Because I have the tambourine on my foot, harmonica in my mouth, and I don't think there's anybody else doing that in North America. So it's kind of, well, I'm a little different, so sometimes they'll pull me in on something that, like a folk festival, which is pretty mainstream, just for something different. And, you know, that it's blues, right? Like, there aren't very many women my age doing blues. So I think, and as a songwriter, that's all different. But in the art world, well, you're really different too, because
but
you know
I'm
you're
being
doing.
pulled in for certain things.
Yeah.
Tokenized
Right.
is what we're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pulled in like that too. I get grants every now and then because nobody knows black women artists. So the only name in this town is, you know, few. If my painting lasts for a week, it's okay. Europeans and that whole sensibility of art conservation is that art should last forever and ever, and nothing lasts forever and ever. The thing that I really appreciate about rock painting is that when those paintings were done, the artist was not concerned whether it would last for 1,000 years and some art historian would discover it. It was an expression of the people, of the culture of the time. And another artist of a later time would come along and just paint right over it. And that's life, perpetuating and re-experiencing itself.
Spirituals always gave, especially when I found out that spirituals were connected with slavery, and that it was like you can go up to heaven. But what they were talking about was you could go and run away from your slave master and be free. And there was all this great hope. So whenever, you know, you're depressed, you should always listen to gospel because it gives you great hope. Because even if, you know, this God doesn't exist, if God just means good, then we can at least go for the good things in life.
so many of our sisters, you know, they get totally destroyed by the city. And there's nowhere really for them to just take the time to balance their lives and start to think about how they can really change certain things that are going on.
A safe place.
A safe place to be together and sort of talk in the ways we need to in order to give each other strength to keep going on.
Yeah, well, cities are really concrete. They're sort of, everything's a phallic symbol. Everything's gray, which matches the gray suits that the white men wear, you know, which matches the gray minds that are only interested in accumulating the dollars, which matches the kind of gray heart which has no soul and doesn't care about how other people live or who has to suffer for their own privilege. A space where women can not be oppressed by that, and where children, you know, cannot be oppressed by that hierarchy of who's the boss and who owns what, and just a place for ourselves as women, you know, black lesbian artists to live and to have a way out. It would be really good to see that it'll always be here, you know. Even after we're gone, there'll be a place for women and for children. And even, you know, I mean, it's open to discussion, you know. Maybe you want to have some men come up. I'm not saying that the land is open to everyone, but I'm saying that we're open in terms of our politics. You know, it's a world politics, and we're trying to get a more global view. Right.
I wrote the song for Lesbian and Gay Pride Day. It's called Loving Woman Loving. Woman Loving Woman, I think. So, just want to bring everybody. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Irie man, woman, loving, loving woman, woman, loving woman, hold my hand, loving woman. What I wanna say, when you say good show, will you be with me? I want to be free. Look at the color of my skin, see the ancestors' chains, the scars of robbery, they even stole my name. Loving, loving woman, woman, loving woman, hold my hand, loving woman. I wanna walk side by side, I wanna see eye to eye in this land of greed that is not mine. Oh, woman, let us love in all the ways we can, build new horizons, love life all we can. 'Cause we're loving, loving woman, woman, loving woman, hold my hand, loving woman.
Anyways, let's play one of those little British songs that you taught me before. Right, love?
I taught you a British song.
Yeah, you know that one.
This is from the Caribbean.
Right, British Isles, isn't it, love? British
No,
Isles.
West Indies.
Isn't it called British Isles now?
Which, Caribbean?
Yeah. Play a little funky thing you do now.
Oh, no, that's North American. Funky.
That is Caribbean.
I believe it. I feel my blood beating now.
Then you hit your thing over there.
Hit my thing. Go, Grace. Go on.
That's really fulfilling.
Really.
When you tell me yes, I wanna hold you in my arms and say it's alright now. Together we're strong. 'Cause I'm loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman. Hold my hand. Loving woman. Loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman, hold my hand. Loving woman. Loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman, hold my hand. Loving woman. Loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman, hold my hand. Loving woman. Loving, 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 loving woman, 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 loving. Woman, loving, woman, 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 loving, loving. Hold my hand. Loving a woman. I can't hear you. Let's go. Loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman. Hold my hand. Loving woman. I can't hear nobody out there. Loving, loving woman. Woman, loving woman. Hold my hand. Loving woman.